Good morning. It's Jennifer Mazzarolo on Tuesday, September 20th, and here is today's Maverick moment. Today I wanted to talk about interviewing success tips. The market's pretty busy at the moment, and I've been dealing with lots of candidates on a lot of interviews, and have some great feedback for you if you are in job search mode and looking for something new. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about a few steps that I always encourage my candidates to do as they're preparing for the interview. One is make sure that you do some research on the company. It sounds like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many candidates sound like they're deer in headlights when the client asks, "Do you have any questions for us?" and the candidate goes blank. So you want to make sure that you have prepared accordingly and you've done some research on the company. Now, this doesn't mean you need to know their EBITDA and all their segmented information and unconsolidated financials, but it does mean that you should know what markets they operate in, what products they have, who are some of their major competitors, because that helps you feed right into another success tip, which is asking some insightful questions. So the more you know about the company and the players, and obviously today is information overload, so there's no excuse for you not knowing some good information about the company and who you're meeting. The other thing is make sure you arrive a little bit early to catch your breath, decompose from the travel that it took you to get to the client, traffic. It's always good to just sort of sit back and take a breath and get a little bit mindful and get in the right headspace. Get in your sort of warrior pose in your mind to make sure you're in the right frame of mind to be confident and successful in the interview. So that's just arriving a little bit early if at all possible. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure in your prep that you know your resume cold. I know it sounds, again, like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many great candidates go for interviews, and the feedback I get is, wow, that person did not articulate their experience very well at all. So, no excuse. You know you better than anybody. So you make sure that you know your resume better than anybody. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just do a dump of your experience during the interview process. Anybody can read. What you want to make sure is you can articulate why those pieces of your experience are relevant to the job you're interviewing for. So in the prep, it's almost like you're asking yourself the why and the so what. What did I learn from this role? So what? Well, it's going to help me lead the team in this role that I'm interviewing for, etc., etc. You want to make those connections, and the more you make those connections for the client during the interview, the less they need to do the mental gymnastics after the interview to determine whether you're the right candidate or not. The other thing I'd like to remind you of, and I know I've probably gone through interview success tips in the past, but the interview does start the minute you park your car. So walking into the reception, anyone you interact with, make sure you're professional and polite. You'd be surprised. A couple of other things, make sure that during the interview you have an awareness and a self-awareness and some emotional intelligence. If the interviewer, or it's a panel interview, if they seem to be asking you the same question more than once, it means you didn't answer it very good the first time. So take that to heart, think on your feet, and course correct during the interview. Make sure you're giving details. Make sure you're specific in your answers. And make sure you have some examples. All this can be done in your prep. Understand the top 3 to 4 competencies that they're really looking for during the interview process. You're going to know these because the job description is pretty low-hanging fruit. They probably tell you right on there what some of the requirements are. And some of them are soft skills. So there's no reason why you can't do some troubleshooting ahead of time to figure out where they're going to go during the interview. Or if you're using a recruiter, they should be preparing you accordingly. And they should be doing a relatively deep dive with you before they send you in to meet any of their clients. Also, make good eye contact with the interviewer. You want to make sure you're building rapport with whoever you're meeting, and that comes through the eye contact. And also, again, have some insightful questions. So that's it for today. I know it was a jam-packed day, and I'm sure I've addressed some of these before, but it's a busy market out there, and I want people to be prepared. So have a great day.